Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends. This one's going to be featuring on jungling Kayle, as played by Spreekaway. This is taken from one of our Wednesday YouTube night games. Also in this game is me playing as Lux, SS Magus playing as Twitch, Tizzy B the G playing as Sona, and Watt the Watt playing as Malphite. Then on the other team, we have Still Eternity playing as Cho'Gath, the Gaminator playing as Syndra, that guy Gia playing as Blitzcrank, Targoon playing as Graves, and Wimmy playing as Olaf. Is that Wimmy 1? Well, in any case, he's jungling as Olaf. Let me go ahead and get the little action bars lined up down here. So, if you've been following some of the competitive scene, there has been a whole lot of Jungle Kayle that's been getting played recently, particularly in the European qualifiers for the Season 3 Championship Series, the teams that are going to be salaried for Season 3. There has been quite a bit of Jungle Kayle that was played recently in those qualifiers. So in this game, we're going to follow Spreekaway around and watch as he jungles as Kayle. Kayle has a number of advantages as far as jungling goes. She's quite good at chasing people. She has a speed up on her heal, and she has a slow on her Q, and she also scales very well into the late game. She's a bit weak at the start of the game, but she does scale very, very well into the late game. In particular, her ult can be a game-changing play if it's used correctly, and we will get to see some examples of that in this particular game. Anyway, in terms of the actual flow of the action, the other team is looking to invade. We were well aware that they might be looking to invade in this game, because they had an extremely strong level 1 team. Cho'Gath and Blitzcrank are both extremely good in level 1 fights. Graves is not bad. What is that sound? Where is that music coming from? Oh, that must be a dance animation. That's weird. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Anyway, so they are doing a late invade. We figured that if they did invade, they would go for our blue buff. So Spreekaway is going to start at his own red. And he just figured that they would likely be invading our blue, and in fact that's exactly what happened. Anyway, Spreekaway is starting with the Hunter's Machete and 5 health pots, and that's pretty standard on just about any jungler these days. He also has chosen to start with his E, his Righteous Fury, and I honestly do not know the skill order all that well for Jungle Kayle, so I am going to have to watch along and figure out what exactly he chooses to take as we go along. Wow, look at this. Look at how the Golem is actually invisible. Let's make it appear. If I turn on the entire map screen, you can see it, but for some reason, it's totally invisible in normal spectator mode. Anyway, so there is the jungle invasion, and Wimmy has gone ahead and taken the blue. Did he leave one of the little lizards? Yes, he did actually leave one of the little lizards behind, so that's going to set Spreekaway behind a little bit. Now, Spreekaway did not use his smite, or he didn't use it previously. Actually, he just smited the little wolf by. I have to think that that was an accident. I can't imagine he meant to use his smite on the little wolf. Probably misclicked, probably wanted to smite the big wolf. Gets up here. Ordinarily, he could potentially get to level 3 by clearing his golem, but he is not going to be able to clear that here. Anyway, there's a flash from Syndra, and the ignite is going to be enough to pick up first blood. So that was a dirt moment on my part right there. Got burst down too low by the Gaminator, and now he will have the advantage in this lane. Anyway, so Spreekaway is going to come here, and he's going to go ahead and make the best of a bad situation by claiming some of this lane experience. Better that it goes to him than that it goes to waste. You know, I'm still running back to lane, so it's better that he clears this wave and gets the experience and gold. That will help to offset the fact that he did not get his own blue buff. So that will help make up for what he lost earlier. And like I said, that experience in gold would have just hit the tower and gone to waste. Anyway, again, let's check out skilling order again. So far, Spreekaway has put 1 point in each of his skills. Again, what he wanted to do, the idea behind this jungle path, was to start at Wraiths, clear red, do red with no smite, then go to blue, smite blue, hit level 3, and then probably head to top and gank in top lane. Not able to do that, though, because, of course, they invaded and stole the blue. Their team still hasn't claimed their own blue yet, either. Looks like Wimmy is just doing a bit of a standard clear of his own jungle. So Spreekaway is going to have to go back to base, probably after he clears this camp, and go heal, because he's out of gold, or excuse me, out of health and out of mana. Let's go ahead and keep an eye on what's going on in bottom lane right now, because there's not too much taking place in the jungle just yet. Here, Watt's playing as Malphite up in top lane. He's against Still Eternity, playing as Cho'Gath. We figured that was a matchup where there probably wouldn't be too much action on either side unless the junglers came to gank, because both champions inherently very tanky. In mid, I'm still playing as Lux against the Gaminator as Syndra. The Gaminator is ahead, of course, because he has that first blood. He went back and picked up a Chalice on that trip back. And then in bottom lane, SS Magus as Twitch and Tizzy B as Sona against Targoon as Graves and that guy Gia as Blitzcrank. Anyway, so Spreekaway has gone ahead and bought. He's picked up the Madred's Razor. That seems like an item that speeds up the jungling quite a bit. The current belief is that the Spirit Stones are pretty weak as far as jungling items go. Most junglers are leaning towards Madred's Razor. Whether they upgrade that to a Wriggles or not, they don't always necessarily do that. But the Spirit Stones are not too popular right now. So right now, Spreekaway is doing a bit of counter jungling and going ahead. He just took the Wraiths, and it looks like he's going to go ahead up the top lane. So keep an eye on this. Now, one thing about Jungle Kayle, she is pretty dependent on red buff. Without red buff to cause her auto attacks to slow, she's not a great ganker. There's the defensive rupture from Still Eternity. There's good damage going down on the Cho. Are they going to be able to get this kill? And it looks like they will claim this. Oh, that flash just barely not enough. Watt needed to flash out just a hair sooner. If he had flashed about a half second sooner, he would have been able to make it out of that. But again, the idea behind Kayle, Jungle Kayle, you pop your E, the Righteous Fury, gives her that range, and it applies, let's see, deals additional magic damage on hit. And you use your Q to slow, and you use your W to speed yourself up. Keep an eye on this bottom lane right now, where it looks like a trade has gone not very well for blue team. And it looks like Targoon's going to go ahead and claim that. Didn't see exactly how that fight got started, but that will be a kill then for the Graves Blitzcrank combo. Anyway, Spreekaway is actually picking up a lot of laning experience. Remember, he picked up some in mid, and now he's picked up some in top. Now, this is a bit of a mistake by Wimmy. Wimmy should be going to grab this golden experience. Like, this is a full wave on this tower. Instead, Wimmy went and chased after Spreekaway, and he didn't get any of this golden experience, so much of it went to waste. That was, as I said, that was a bit of a waste. He probably should have just collected that golden experience, because if I click on this here, compare the two junglers. Right now, Kayle 100, about 2,000 gold, and Olaf is 000 with about 1,500. So almost 500 gold behind just in that jungler matchup. Anyway, Spreekaway went ahead and he's chosen to put his gold into a Berserker's Greaves, which you might seem a little bit strange, but Kayle really does need attack speed. The way that her E works, and note that Spreekaway is maxing E first, is she gets the E effect on Righteous Fury for 10 seconds. So you want to get more attacks in that span of 10 seconds so that you can make more use of her ranged mode. So you need attack speed to be able to do that. If you don't get some attack speed, then most of the benefit from her E just ends up going to waste. Anyway, the camps have respawned. Spreekaway is going back to his red, and we'll likely see him going to gank once his red buff is cleared. Again, Jungle Kayle is much more effective when Jungle Kayle has red buff, because then all of those auto attacks with the Righteous Fury popped will be slowing, in addition to just dealing damage. Anyway, as far as the lanes right now, top lane is pretty even, maybe slightly in favor of Cho. Well, let's get back to that in a minute. Let's see, right now in comes the gank from Spreekaway. There is the slowing. I'm going to force the Gaminator to flash over that late binding. Meanwhile, Spreekaway is still going in, and Lux ult together with continued auto attacks will pick up that kill. I think that the Gaminator played that pretty well. He actually did flash over the late binding that was going to hit him, but Spreekaway flashed after, continued to chase, and again, having that red buff allowed him to chase that down. And a nice message there from the Gaminator. So that helps me out a lot as Lux, because it's going to allow me to push this minion wave into the tower, and this will deny Syndra golden experience. That will help me to catch up. Now Spreekaway is going to go after the blue, and he's going to give that donated to me. Have to be a little bit careful, because those Madred's Razor procs, Spreek can't attack right now, or potentially his Madred's Razor will proc and kill the Golem, but it's going to be donated over to me. So, 2-0 Jungle Kayle, looking very strong right now. Still has that red buff up for a little while longer, has about half the duration on that, and can still potentially look to go and gank other lanes. We'll see. Is Spreekaway going to go back to base? Looks like he's typing a message to someone right now. Anyway, let's check out what's going on down in bottom lane. Looks like it's pretty even aside from the one kill that Graves has. There's a failed grab, unfortunately, by Blitzcrank. Here's a gank coming in top. Wimmy will hit on the undertow, on the axe throw, but looks like Watt is going to be okay. It does help to be Malphite sometimes. You are inherently tanky. he still needs to go back and buy. He doesn't have much in the way of items. Anyway, Spreekaway sees that Wimmy is in top lane, sees that Jungle Olaf is in top. That's a signal that he can go and invade the jungle, and goes ahead, checks the blue, and can look to try to steal something away. Looks like nothing was really up, but did have that option. Now, heading for bottom lane, there is the Righteous Fury, and dodges the Blitzcrank grab, but it doesn't look like there's really all that much that can be done here. They're going to be able to skate back underneath their tower. Still helps to relieve pressure, makes it a little bit easier for Twitch to farm, and Sona was not in the lane, so being there to help relieve some pressure, not such a bad thing. In the meantime, there's not too much else going on right now. Mid is kind of settled down. I've been able to largely even things up. I think I'm a little bit behind Syndra still. Yeah, I'm about 100 gold behind, but that's not too significant to this point in time. In top lane, Cho, let's see, Cho and Malphite, yeah, well, Cho's a little bit ahead. Not too much difference there between the two of them. And in bottom lane, Graves has gotten a little bit ahead at this point. He has the kill, and he also does have 10 extra minion kills. Now here comes the gank in bottom lane. There goes the pink ward. Oh, I like that use of the pink ward. Very nice to spot out Twitch. Meanwhile, here comes Syndra down from the mid lane. Right now, we are going to go in. Again, Kayle's popped that Righteous Fury, and a pretty good Sona ult. Can Spreekaway finish this off? There is the ult to dodge that silence coming out from Blitzcrank. Really nicely played there, and there's going to be 2 flashes right there. It's not going to be enough to let Graves escape. It should be enough to get Blitz out, but really nicely played there overall, and then that's going to now allow the blue team to go ahead and claim Dragon on the back end of this. The enemy team's mid lane is dead. One of their AD and bot is dead, so it's going to be very difficult for them to challenge for this. Wimmy is in the area, but it looks like he's going to back off, not make a play for this, and this Dragon should go over to our team. Not even using smite on it, just happy to go ahead and claim that. So again, that fight was counter ganked. It was turned around by the presence of the jungler. A nice usage of the Sona ult by Tizzy B in order to set up that play. A great use of the Kayle ult though, coming out at exactly the right moment to dodge the damage from Blitzcrank's silence and prevent Blitz from getting off any further crowd control. That means that Spreekaway is now 301 as Jungle Kayle. Let's see what he's going to pick up right here. How much gold is he sitting on? 1,700. He can finish something pretty strong. Let's see what he's actually going to go for here. I can't imagine he's going to leave without buying anything. Okay, he's gone for Haunting Guise. An interesting choice there. Ability power and health. Now, I'm not too familiar with this particular build. It does give the spell penetration on the Q, but Spreekaway is actually not maxing his Q. He's just leaving it with 1 point in the skill. He's actually maxing his W second in order to increase the movement speed. You do get more movement speed by putting more points into this skill. It also does allow him to sustain a little bit better. Excuse me. Voice just went out for a second there. So again, I'm not terribly familiar with Jungle Kayle. I'm not familiar with the build, what it looks like. But in this game, it did seem to be proving rather effective overall, so keep an eye on this. Anyway, we're setting up another gank. The game leader comes forward here. There's the slow, the speed up. There's actually a stun on the Spreekaway, but I'm going to be able to hit a light binding as Lux, and we were able to combo there pretty effectively. Let's go back and we'll just look at that again real quickly, since it didn't take long. So again, Syndra comes forward. Spreekaway's going to hit the slow. There's the attack, stunned by Syndra, but I hit the light binding. And even though there's a Syndra ult coming out, it's not enough damage to burst down Kayle. And Spreekaway did have his ult up, but he didn't need to use it right there. So I end up claiming the kill off of another really nice gank. And then that's going to be another wave of minions denied on the tower against Syndra. Anyway, there's a fight going on down here in bottom lane, and the Graves burst is going to be enough to burst through Twitch. That's a little bit redundant, but it is going to be enough to pick up that kill. Again, the pink ward here, I believe that Twitch thought that he was invisible, but he actually was not invisible thanks to this pink ward. Again, a nice pickup. Here comes Spreekaway. He does not have red buff anymore, but there's the W for the speed up. I'm going to allow him to chase. Going in after Graves. Graves is low, but again, probably too close to the tower. Look at the damage coming out here. Wow. Blitzcrank getting very low. And there's the Kayle ult to be immune to damage. Will Spreekaway be able to pick this up? Yes, gets the kill. Can he finish this up and pick up Graves as well? No, cannot pick up Graves. But again, the Kayle ult, so good for tower diving. Allows Spreekaway to go in and pick up the kill on Blitzcrank. Not quite able to get the kill on Graves, though. Just a little bit short right there. So a trade 1-for-1 probably favors the other team a little bit because they did get a killing spree on Kayle when they got the kill, and has now picked up 2 attack speed daggers, and I have actually no idea what that's building towards. Perhaps it's building towards something like Malady. That's the first thing that comes to mind, but I honestly do not know what that is built towards. Spreekaway will probably see this video and post some suggestions on his build after this goes up on the YouTube channel. Anyway, so in the game overall, it's still a very close match. Blue team's ahead by about 600 gold. Right now, it is, let's see, I believe that I have gotten out ahead in mid. Yes, I'm now about 400 gold ahead. I have a slight lead there. Their team, however, is ahead in top lane. Cho'Gath is ahead of Malphite up in the top lane. And Wat wants to set up a gank here. He was pinging that he wanted to set this up. So there is the Malphite ult. The flash is not going to be enough. Malphite ult makes it very easy to hit a late binding. So we were able to set that one up. And poor Gaminator, so many ganks indeed. He banked a lot in middle lane. So teammates giving me a little bit of help here in middle lane. Wat actually lost a little bit in top lane to pull that off, but it was probably worth it if you can pull that out overall. So the Malphite ult sets up the Lux late binding, and from there it's relatively easy. Now there is another fight going on down here in bottom lane. Sona ult unfortunately misses both Blitzcrank and Graves. And right now this fight is not going well. That guy Gia very, very low, but Olaf is here. There's the flash in, and that what is it? The Reckless Swing will be enough to finish off Sona right there. Yes, Olaf with Flash. We don't see that too often, but that was a case where Wimmy has brought Flash on Olaf. Here comes Spreekaway, though. He does have red buff up, so he should be able to chase these things down. Does Wimmy have his ultimate up? Just pop his Ragnarok, so he will be immune to the slowing effect, at least initially. But there it is. Looks like it must have worn off by right now. So we are going to turn. There is the light binding. And the Lux ult not even necessary, as Spreekaway's damage on Kayle enough to finish that off. So this is one of the things that people like about Kayle, that she has very high damage, and a lot of junglers right now really don't have that. I'm going to lose a little bit in mid, but it was still very worthwhile to roam down the bottom lane and help pick up that kill. So it ultimately a 1-for-1 in bottom lane. We were able to get a kill on their jungler, and Spreekaway's now snowballed pretty far in front. Anyways, I was saying, Kayle as a jungler just seems to do a lot more damage than other junglers, and has that ultimate that's really useful in team fights. You can pull off very, very clutch saves on someone if they get caught out of position. Of course, this game will look better. Obviously, if Kayle's 5-1, it's going to look a lot better, but that's always the case for any champion. Still, she does have a lot of strength, and she's become a very popular jungler right now in the competitive scene, in part because a lot of other junglers, as I said, are just a bit weak at the moment, and she seems to be able to avoid a lot of those disadvantages. Spreekaway is sitting on a lot of gold right now. He is, sitting on over 1,000 gold. There's another fight in bottom lane. Didn't pick that one up in time. Keeping an eye on mid. I knew that they were trying to gank me in mid, but fortunately this ward was enough to spot that top had come down, jungler was in the area. So I was able to play safe and be able to escape that. Unfortunately, bottom lane can't say the same thing. Sona in a bit of a rough patch in this game. Bottom lane is 1-4 on the game so far, and Graves is actually 5-1. Targoon is quite strong. This ward, though, will spot Spreekaway as he tries to head down to bottom lane. But yes, Targoon 5-1 is Graves. Very strong right now. A little low on the minion kills, but champion kills can make up for that. He has the most gold on the red team, and he is just short of Spreekaway for most gold in the game. Yes, jungler actually does have the most gold in the game right now. You don't see that very often, but getting 5 kills will help those numbers look a lot better right now. Right now, the dragon is respawned. Both teams are presumably getting ready for that. If you turn off the fog of war, you can see dragon is hanging out there. Two teams, both top laners still just farming it up. Cho'Gath still a bit ahead. Our team, the blue team, does have the advantage of a teleport being on Malphite, so potentially Malphite can teleport into a dragon fight if necessary, if we need him to do so. Meanwhile, Spreekaway has gone back and bought. Well, while that's going on, another kill in bottom lane. Was that set up by a Blitzcrank grab? Yes, it was set up by a grab. You can see the grab's on cooldown. Looks like Sona just got pulled. Alright, other items that have come out. We've got the Stinger now on Kayle. Let me go ahead and center the camera here while we're walking back to lane. Got the Stinger now, so just straight attack speed and cooldown reduction. Very nice item. Nashor's Tooth has sort of always been one of these items associated with Kayle. I can never really think of hardly any other champion that built Nashor's Tooth other than her. And then also Giant's Belt. Giant's Belt, underpriced in this patch version, has since been changed. There's been another patch has come out since this game was recorded on Wednesday, and they've increased the price of the Giant's Belt. Anyway, it looks like we are going to have a standoff here at Dragon. No Sona, though. Do potentially have that Malphite teleport, but can be interrupted if Cho'Gath is able to get a Feral Scream or a Rupture. Both will interrupt the teleport. So both teams just continuing to stand off around Dragon. our team has the advantage of a pink ward being down in the river. We actually just cleared out their ward that was at dragon. So no action just yet. We'll have to see who is going to be able to take this. In the overall game, it is tied 8-8 in kills and 23.7 to 23.7 in overall gold. So very, very close indeed between these two teams. It's going to come down to who can win sort of these crucial mid-game fights, who can snowball that into a Baron, who can start taking towers. We actually have not had a single tower go down just yet. And Gaminator looked like he might be willing to go back to base, but if he does, that will probably mean a dragon for our team. I'm going to go ahead and clear the wave. Perhaps should have held on to Lux ult, but looking to go back and buy. Wow, that's a little bit weird. Health bars are a little bit messed up right there. And so we're all just continuing to stand off around the dragon, just sort of doing this dragon dance. And look, both mids going back at the same time. We're both looking to buy and be ready to fight if dragon were to spawn right here. So yeah, everybody's just being careful. Anyway, their bottom lane's pushing up, so that's going to expose them to a little bit of a counterplay here. Spreekaway is going to run into Wimmy, and the engagement is on. Olaf going to pop the ultimate. Again, Kayle does not have red, but got in some very good damage. Wimmy unfortunately missed the axe toss there, missed his undertow, and he lost about a third of his life while not really doing any damage. So Spreekaway is going to go ahead and use this time to pick up red buff. Again, red very, very good on Kayle. Look at how fast Spreekaway is starting to attack. Remember what I said? You want to stack some attack speed. Really on Kayle, you want attack speed and cooldown reduction are sort of the two key stats that you immediately want to itemize for. Attack speed, so that she can get off more autos with her E on. What is it called? Reckoning, I think? Righteous Fury. You want to get more auto attacks on while she has her Righteous Fury up. And then cooldown reduction allows you to use your Righteous Fury more often. I believe if you cap CDR on Kayle, got what, 14%? I believe if you cap cooldown reduction on Kayle, then you can have your E up just permanently. It can just always be up at all times, and then you can play like a ranged champion instead of the sort of weird ranged melee hybrid that Kayle is otherwise. Anyway, that dragon is still sitting there, so it's just a question of can someone make a play for it here. Spreekaway's going to go in and gank the Gaminator right there. A nice, well, did that Syndra stun hit? I'm not sure. Anyway, going to come out with the Lux pool, and that's going to chunk Gaminator pretty hard right there. He didn't have to burn Flash. He did not do a Panic Flash or anything like that, but that will push him off the tower for the immediate future and probably force him back to base sometime soon. In top lane, Malphite heading back to see if he then comes down for Dragon. I can't remember from when we played this game. And again, we're putting some pressure on this tower right here. There's the Lux pool. Unfortunately, it's a total whiff on the ultimate. Again, mistake on my part. You want to hit on a Lux binding first before you use the... you want to hit on a Lux ult first. Anyway, here it looks like Spreekaway is going to die, and in fact, he is going to die right there. I thought he was going to use his ult on himself, but no. And to get back to my point before, you want to bind someone with Lux binding before you try to use your ult, because obviously they can't move out of the way if they're binded. So that play did not work out for us right there. And in fact, right there, I actually did hit a late binding on the Gaminator. Would have killed him if I had still had ult up. Anyway, off of that kill on Spreekaway, their team is going to go ahead and try for this dragon. They did get another... We actually did get a kill on bottom lane. We used Malphite teleport a minute ago, but there was a fight going on in mid. Was watching that. So, a nice play for red team, and they are actually going to take the lead right now in the gold count. Not by a lot, but they will take the lead just by a little bit. So we're going to have to look to make some plays and look to respond and come back and try to avoid getting caught out like that again. Anyway, the real problem there was just that I misused Lux skills. Whiffed on her ult really badly and should not have used Lux ult in a situation where it didn't hit anything. Very, very deep analysis. Don't use the skill shot ult that hits nothing, right? Anyway, so looking back, taking stock at what we've got right now, I went ahead and bought Athene's Unholy Grail. As far as jungle Kayle, where is Kayle right now on the map? I actually don't see her. Oh, there she is. She's right in mid lane. That's funny. Has gone ahead and picked up a Amplifying Tome. I believe that this is building towards Nashor's Tooth. Spreekaway has half of about three or four different items right here in his current build. And right now, we actually did see this invasion coming into our jungle. Spreekaway was pinging it and saying, hey, let's turn and try to fight this. We know that these guys are here. Let's go ahead and look to go for this. Anyway, right there, Blitzcrank grab's going to miss. The Lux Finding will hit, the Lux laser will hit, but now Syndra is here using her burst. The Kayle, the shield is going to go onto me. Unfortunately, I was stunned by Syndra. I was not able to run out of that. In comes the bottom lane to try to clean this up. Will they be able to pick up Syndra? Yes, they do. That will be a kill for Twitch. So it is a 3-for-2 in our favor, but a little bit misplayed. I think that we could have gotten out of that a little bit better. And meanwhile, Cho'Gath did take top tower. So overall, that series of plays did favor Red Team. You'd have to say when you count that top tower into the equation. So looking strong, particularly Syndra doing a lot of damage with her Liandry's and with her Athene's Unholy Grail. I'm not sure that that's necessarily the best build path for Syndra. I'm not 100% sure. I think that there are some stronger builds. She's a burst caster. I feel like Liandry's works a little bit better on the damage over time casters and a little bit less so for a burst caster like Syndra. Perhaps maybe just get the Haunting Guise and leave it there instead of upgrading to the Liandry's. It's actually a lot of gold to upgrade from Haunting Guise and take it to Liandry's. But it did seem to be working pretty well in this game, so what do I know? There is now the Liandry's Torment on Spreekaway. The Jungle Kayle looks like, I guess he was not building towards Nashor's Tooth immediately. He was using that Amplifying Tome to build towards Liandry's. That actually does make sense because her Q will slow in addition to dealing damage. So that does make a lot of sense. Now there's a bit of a standoff in mid. So we've got a couple champions on both sides in mid. Their team is actually ahead 2 towers to 0 right now. They're in a pretty good position. They're doing a good job of baiting this fight because here comes Blitzcrank down from the bottom. And they're going to go ahead and hit that grab. So I'm going to slow this down and watch. I'm in a terrible position, but watch. Right as they're about to focus me, we're going to get the play that turns around the fight. Boom! The Kayle ultimate blocks all of the damage from Syndra. Blocks the entire Syndra ultimate. And then we're going to turn this around onto Wimmy. He will fall. Down comes Malphite. And the Gaminator is now very, very low. Will we be able to chase this down? There's the Flash Seismic Shard from Watt to Watt. Will pick up the kill. Double kill from Malphite. Now still Eternity getting hit by a Light Binding. And that Kayle ult just completely swung that fight around. Right when I was about to get bursted down and killed after foolishly being grabbed by Blitzcrank. Out comes the Kayle ult. Blocks all of the damage from Syndra's ultimate. And indeed, the credit given. That Kayle ult just perfectly timed. This was a blind pick game, so Jungle Kayle was not picked specifically to counter this team, but as it turned out, Jungle Kayle was a really good counter to the team that they had running. Anytime that Syndra ult was about to come out, Spreekaway, if he could react fast enough, could use his shield and block the damage. Or, oh no, somebody just got grabbed by Blitzcrank. Go ahead and pop the Kayle ultimate onto that person, and now they're invulnerable for 3 seconds. So that last fight that we just had there really did a lot to even up the game. Now the gold lead has swung back to our team again. There's a bit of an exchange going on in mid. Doesn't look like anyone's going to die. The gold lead has swung back to blue team now, and that fight was won largely off of the advantage of having Kayle ult come out at exactly the right moments in that particular fight. So that was 2 kills and 2 towers. And oh, the plays in mid. That's unfortunate. Blitzcrank with a nice grab, but Twitch probably shouldn't have been trying to defend that tower. It was very, very low. Unlikely we could have held that tower anyway. Probably would have been better just to give that up. But unfortunately, instead, that guy Gia makes a play and is able to pull off a kill onto Twitch. In terms of the gold total, once again, we now still are looking at a situation where Kayle is essentially, well, tied for most gold on blue team. Most gold in the game is still on Graves, who is sitting there with 6 kills and 9,400 gold overall. Does have the Bloodthirster Phantom Dancer, is most of the way towards a Last Whisper as well. We'll probably be picking that up soon, too. Cho'Gath, quite strong, has the Rod of Ages and is very tanky. A bit of kind of a strange build. Is a little bit all over the place in terms of what Cho'Gath's building. Sunfire Cape on Cho, you don't see that too often. So a bit of a strange build there. I can't say I fully endorse that particular Cho'Gath build, but Cho is relatively strong in this particular match. Malphite though also stacking up the tankiness. 194 armor right there with the Sunfire and the Iceborne Gauntlet. So we're at a standoff right now, waiting for the teams to engage, and 2 people running into one another. Malphite and Cho just face-checking into one another. At this point, our team was looking for someone to engage. We were confident that we could probably win a team fight if we got a good engage. So for this team comp, the engage has to come from Malphite. It can also come from Sona if Sona is able to hit on a good ultimate, but it really probably should come from Malphite. So we were just looking for Malphite to try to catch them clumped together and see if we could, force a fight. We were pretty confident that we could win if we were able to just, get that engagement. Dragon's up. Whoever can win the next fight will be able to go and take Dragon. And it's very even right now, so whoever wins these next fights... Oh, Mag is going to get grabbed, but in comes once again, the Kayle ult blocks all of the damage, and that fight has completely been turned around off of yet another great Kayle ult. So instead of Twitch getting bursted down, the fight is swung. All of Syndra's damage is blocked. Right now, Spreekaway and I are just trying to kite as best as possible. Kayle is very good at kiting with her speed up and slow down, and together we won't have any trouble cleaning up the back end of this fight. So 4 for 2 in that fight. Let's go back and just watch that again, because this was such an important fight in this particular match. Anyway, there's the grab onto Twitch. There is the invulnerability right as the Syndra ult hits, blocks all that damage. Lux ult will come out and basically melt Graves, who has no magic resist, and then from this point, the fight just gets cleaned up by blue team here. Syndra is going to be able to escape when she flashes out, but Olaf and Cho are going to get kited by Lux and by Kayle at the tail end of this, and they will not be able to make their way out of that. So really, the Kayle ultimate just completely swings that fight once again. Perfectly timed. Twitch would have died instantly. Instead, he survives and is able to get off most of his damage in the fight. So again, these Blitzcrank grabs are completely countered in this game by Kayle, and that's one reason why, again, Kayle has been very popular in recent competitive play. Allows your team to basically get out of jail free on a mistake, and that certainly was the case here. 4 for 2. A middle lane tower, and looks like we not going to go for this inhib. A little bit too risky. We'll just have to come back later. But now ahead by about 1.5k gold, and that dragon is still sitting out there for someone to try to claim. Is the red buff up for their team? Yes, red buff is up for the red team, but really no chance to try to get this. There is, oh, the grab so close. That guy Geo almost able to grab Malphite. Likely would have been another kill as a result of that play, but still feeling a lot better about the game right now than our team was a minute ago. As Lux, I already had her core build, Unholy Grail and Deathcap, and I've gone ahead and just picked up another needlessly large rod. I'm not necessarily going to build that into Zanya's, but I had like 1600 gold and I was like, screw it, just get more AP. Works for me. In terms of the Kayle build, now out comes the Gnasher's Tooth, attack speed, ability power, and cooldown reduction. Again, attack speed, cooldown reduction, the key stats on Kayle. Here's the cooldown reduction and the attack speed. Where is attack speed? 1.5. Pretty fast, pretty fast. That's an attempt to steal the dragon with Lux ult, just barely missed. Was not able to. Nice play by red team to go and claim that dragon. That makes the gold total a lot closer. They're only down by 500 gold in this match. Still very, very close, but there is an inhib open in their base right now, so they've lost a fair amount of their base. Still, Baron sitting there, available for either team to claim. That will be the focus for the teams going forward, and right here we're going to ping middle, and then we're like, look, we've got this tower, let's just, we've got an open inhib, let's just go claim it. And, let's go fight them. We've got a team that does a really good job of countering what their team does best. Their team has a lot of burst damage, particularly on Syndra, but Graves as well. And there's the initiation from Malphite. Catches 3 of them. Lux ult comes out a little late, but does hit Graves. He is very, very low. Will he be able to make it out of this? It looks like he will, but this should still get us. Oh, Targoon goes so low, but he's not going to fall in this fight. Still, this should allow us to claim this inhibitor if we're careful about how we fight this. Their team continues to chase, but they might be chasing a little too far. Has that spray and pray been used by Twitch? Yes, it has. Graves is healing back in the base, so have to be quick about this. Have to try to get this inhib and back out, and there we go. That Blitzcrank grab will not hit. So a nice Malphite ult to set up that play. It's unfortunate for our team we weren't able to draw a kill out of it, but we just were a little bit shy. We got Graves extremely low but could not finish him off. Still, the inhibitor claimed a good fight for our team. Now we'll be able to start putting pressure onto Baron because they will have that inhibitor down. Now, biggest mistake that you can do in this situation. You've just claimed inhib. What's the enemy team's best play? Go and do Baron. What can you absolutely not do? Have 2 people down in bottom lane. This is not where you should be. Our team is not in good position. You cannot send 2 people to bottom lane. It's just like an open invitation for the enemy team to go and Baron. So now the other 3 members of our team, Spreekaway, Tizzy B, and myself, have to try and force them off of Baron. Their team is making the completely correct play here, is to try and see if they can take Baron while our team is out of position. And it's getting quite low at half health here. Need to try to come in. Malphite ult. Oh no, misses everything right now. So let's go ahead and slow this down as we try to watch the fight. Malphite is on Cho and on Blitzcrank, not the most important targets necessarily. I'm going to hit Wimmy with the Lux ult. Meanwhile, Spreekaway is going after the most important target, Graves. He's the most fed member of their team. Will he be able to chase this down? And yes, we'll get that. So that is the most important kill to pick up. Blitzcrank has already fallen. Over here, the focus has gone to Cho. He will catch Twitch. And now over here, it's just Syndra and Olaf back up. We will be able to turn and put the focus onto Syndra. Syndra has already popped her ult. There is the Kayle ult just to block damage. And at this point, it's now been a 4-for-1 trade. No, 5-for-1 trade, an ace. And that is pretty much going to seal this one up. This is going to be, should be, an easy Baron to claim from here. Blitzcrank criticizing Syndra, I disagree. That was actually a good call to go for Baron there. They just needed to burst it down a little bit faster. Plus, they were behind in the game. I think it was worthwhile. Now here, Baron Nashor very deadly here. We need to be very careful about rotating off who's tanking the Baron. By the way, Malphite went back to base instead of helping us do Baron. That was another mistake. No reason to do that. So just have to get this. There's no pressure from the enemy team. Just need those Lux shields to come out, and woo! Just barely. Lux shields for the win. How much is that shielding for? What is that? About 350 on each end as it gets tossed out. So yes, just barely enough to claim that. Anyway, I don't think it was a bad call to do that Baron. I really don't. I think it was a good play. Our team was not in position. They just needed to fight a little bit better. Their team's focus was not good. There were two members of their team here. Graves ran off in this direction. No one protected Graves whatsoever. And then Syndra and Olaf were over here. The Game Leader got off a pretty good ult, but he just barely failed to kill me. I had just enough life and just enough MR as Lux to survive that ultimate that came out. And then from there, it was just a matter of our team correctly prioritizing who to go after. That was Graves. Spreekaway made a really good call to just go out after Graves and kill him immediately. And again, their team's sort of lack of organization in terms of how they fought that ended up contributing to their defeat. But I really don't think it was a bad call to go for that Baron. Anyway, Wimmy gets caught in Lux Binding, chooses to burn ult. Perhaps not needed, but I guess better safe than sorry right there. In terms of Kayle, right now, what do we have on Kayle? Kayle has gone ahead and finished, let me go ahead and grab the portrait, has finished Warmogs. Again, League of Warmogs. Warmogs has been nerfed in the most recent patch since this game was played, but was really, really strong at this point in time. Just a straight 1,000 health. And then, note has still never upgraded the Madrid's Razor. Really don't need to. Anyway, over here, Malphite's going to face check into the team. But again, the Kayle ult comes out and saves him. And then all that burst damage goes to waste. Sona ult coming out, catches two people. Twitch now cleaning up on the tail end of this fight. Syndra and Graves, the only ones left alive. Flash over the wall by Spreekaway. There's one kill, and there's the double kill onto Graves, and that will wrap this one up. Again, enemy team laid a perfect trap in this brush. The face check into the brush by our Malphite player, but it didn't matter because he was immediately Kayle ulted again. All of the damage blocked, and it turns into a 5-for-0 fight, an ace. And then the surrender comes out right before the Nexus would have fallen. So, anyway, hopefully this was a great example of how Jungle Kayle can be played. 10-3-14 on the game for Spreekaway. I believe he had the most gold in the game. Yes, by just a little bit. Very evenly distributed on our blue team. And Graves actually had just as much gold on the other team, so very evenly balanced there. But again, very strong, works great against a burst team comp. Against Syndra, against those Blitzcrank grabs. The Kayle ult just really turned around those team fights. I hope I was able to demonstrate that in this particular game. So anyway, Kayle works well against certain teams, and she's probably best played as a jungler now. She does all right in top lane too, but in the jungle she seems to be pretty strong right now, and that seems to be the way that people are playing her. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you again soon. Until then, take care.